So I want to talk to you a little bit about coming here and just the work you've done for Target, because I've been a big fan of it, and I'm a big fan of Target, not just because they're Minneapolis hometown heroes, but specifically of your work. And could you talk to me a little bit about what attracted to you to that and what you've done for them? Because I think it's probably some of the best.
Money.
Yeah, the money. Yeah. No, quite seriously, because the aesthetic and just the pop culture intuition on that, I think, has been outstanding.
Yeah. Well, everyone works on Target.
A lot of work done. I certainly have been a client of mine, and I cherish them as a client. But really, there's been a pop culture knowledge that you brought to Target that I didn't see before.
Okay, cool.
But what attracted you to it?
Yeah, it was. A lot of people work for Target, and we had So Design, which is the design company that me and Mickey started, and it was just the two of us. It was super small, and we were looking for work. We had some of our own clients, and I met Joe Miller through you. Yep. And we actually worked on doing some rebranding for CNN at Spunk when I was working at Spunk under the table. covertly. Yeah. And
it's good to remember slavery was once legal. It didn't make it just. So law and justice are very distant cousins. Yeah. So even though it was illegal, you worked for me, I think it was a just thing.
Yeah. It worked out great because Joe Miller got us in there with our company to I started freelancing for Peterson Muller Hooks and
So Design, your company, started working for PMH about 2002, 2003.
Yeah, 2002.
Well, there's a really important campaign that you can't forget about that you worked on before we started. Which is why we got the call from PMH as well. Was that you worked with Stephen Sprouse, one of the greatest.
I forget. Oh, that's
New
important.
York
That's
bugs
important.
Going up
And sorry, thanks. And the people watching right now will have seen the stuff, but I forget about the Stephen Sprouse stuff because you're working on that with Kilter, which is a great Minneapolis design company, now defunct. But he did stuff for Stephen Sprouse, which I think set the tone, because up until that point, I had never seen anything that Target had done that had that level of just street credibility.
Yeah, that was really sort of out of the blue.
Thank you, Mickey.
You forget actually how much work you do for Target.
Well, you kind of drink it away.
So, I worked with Stephen Sprouse on a 4th of July, which was hilarious because there's like fashion, couture, and New Zealand guy working on 4th of July.
And it's funny, we're kind of like full circle, because here we are in Manhattan right now, which is...
Well, and this very July 4th in 2008, that project was in 2003, and for this July 4th, we were dragging around so many Sprouse packets of crap that we've moved around with us for all these years that just last Friday...
I had forgotten about that.
I was bringing Sprouse napkins to the 4th of July barbecue.
And there's a very weird connection there, because Stephen Sprouse obviously is a visual artist who did a lot of photographic material, so you can't get a better kind of design project.
Yeah, it was a hugely influential project, and we worked intensely on it for months. No one knew. He actually flew out to Minneapolis, and very eccentric guy.
I remember you telling me about him, like when he would start drawing letter forms, like he would like wind up his arm a little bit and then go.
Yeah, he's just very, very crazy, and he Mrs. Levitas.
I'm sorry. Big deal. Okay, so we're talking about Stephen Sprouse a little bit, because I had been aware of him obviously in art school, and then one day you showed up in the studio saying, "Hey, look at the shit that I've done," and it really was probably the best design work I'd seen you ever do, and certainly the best design work that Target had ever done, and that's quite a high bar to hit.
Yeah, it really broke the mold, because it's like fashion couture meets like low rent retail, and he said that he only did two types of design, which was like high-end fashion or like super expensive or super cheap, and this project really fitted into it. So we were doing beach balls and beach towels, and all with the signature,
which I still have in my house. Like my kids still play on a Stephen Sprouse like beach ball equipment material, as do my nephews.
Yeah, the skateboard was genius. It was totally fitted into his aesthetic, and
because you had just met Aaron, I think, at that point, or
because you introduced Aaron and I. It was just after that. But I think some of the interesting stuff that you've told me about Stephen is when that project launched was actually on September 11th, when I was actually still
Yeah.
living here.
He was really excited because he made the front cover of the New York Times on September 11th. And it's the only time that they've produced 2 covers for the New York Times in one day. They produced it and they had his graphic on the front, signature typography, and then obviously something happened.
And
Reprinted
he
the cover.
didn't-
For Steven Sprouse, that's actually probably perfect. Because he would want nothing less than that.
Yeah,
To
yeah.
actually be that exception to the rule.
I got
because
it.
sadly he passed away 2 years after your collaboration.
Yeah, it was
Just
so it was
to-
one of the largest things. I think he was doing
It was
a
career
project
ender
for
for him.
Knoll
Yeah.
and Knoll Furnishing, and we were working actually. We got really close working on the project for Target, and I was helping him on a installation piece in the NASA headquarters, and we were halfway through that,
No shit.
and we never finished it,
Oh man.
which is really, really sad, because he loves space.
Yeah.
Space was the place,
And
as he said.
It would have been so amazing to be out here with him too, because
Yeah.
we actually had met just after that, and Aaron had called him and said, "Hey, doing this thing, have this new company, and have this new girl, and everything else." And he was super sweet. Talked to him on the
Yeah.
phone a few times, and it's really sad that he's not here today to be here for
Yeah.
for this.
But it's a good lesson. Make hay while the sun shines. I mean, there's
Yeah,
no reason
yeah.
to wait because it happens. Because that really, honestly, that was a straight up career ender for him. Like in terms of being on the shelves in Fargo, North Dakota, and Wichita, and Los Angeles,
Yeah.
and God knows where else in Saskatchewan. Like for any artist to have that kind of level of market
Yeah.
penetration that just never happens.
I went to a club with him in Minneapolis, and the Louis Vuitton bags, which really rebirthed his career in the fashion industry in some ways. There were so many rip-offs of it, and you
What a
could
sincere form of that.
buy them everywhere. And we were at a club in Minneapolis, and I think it was the Underground or something over in Northeast.
yeah.
And there's a girl in front of him with a fake Steven Sprouse bag, and it was just this very
He asked for
weird.
money? Yeah, he asked for some cash.
No, he didn't want to go near it, but it was. She wouldn't have even known who he was, but there we are in Minneapolis. And I think it was in summer, and there's this woman with a fake Steven Sprouse bag. It was
That's
pretty
brilliant.
perfect.
That's
yeah,
brilliant. I didn't know that story. That's good.
yeah. So yeah, that was.
What did he think of Minneapolis? Actually, what did Steven Sprouse think?
He
of
loved
his-
it. He loved Bob's Java Hut.
No kidding.
Yeah, and he
Really? Because obviously,
after-
like every Midwesterner, and actually just like every Kiwi, you're incredibly self-deprecating.
Yeah.
You believe that you're in the asshole of the world.
After we went to Bob's Java Hut, from then on, we just referred to each other as Bob. Like he wouldn't.
No kidding.
Allow me to address him as Steven. It was always Bob.
That's
and
that's
vice
really
versa.
that's really really funny and weird because one of my design heroes of all time is a guy named Mike Malloy, which you would maybe remember, Mickey, when you and I were in college. Mike Malloy, not Mike Malloy. Okay, Jack Malloy. Jack Malloy. Forgive me. Jack Malloy came to Moorhead State to do an in-service, and he just opened my eyes to everything. And he's the guy that designed the Bob's Java Hut
that's great.
interior. And yeah, it's weird that he would respond to that because Jack Malloy is one of my
Yeah.
biggest influences.
Well, there's so much about Minneapolis that is kind of pretty
Weird.
scary.
Yeah, and
for,
weird.
especially for
Yeah.
someone that was hanging out at the factory with Andy Warhol,
Yeah.
finds himself
Yeah, no
in
kidding.
corporate Target, and so, but there was some places he just wanted to go as many places as he could where all the punker kids were hanging out. So.
Sure.
Bob's
Before
Java Hut
our
was
cigar
perfect.
runs out, which is going to happen eventually.
Who would have thought?
So the Sprouse stuff really set the bar, which
Yep.
in my mind has not been eclipsed. And it's not because I don't love the work that I see Target happening, but nobody has had that level of depth and interest. And
You're going to say this in every interview, I can tell.
No, yeah, maybe I will. Maybe I will. As a sycophant as I am. But okay, so nobody really has gotten to that point yet.